Today, Dr. Kemi Rotimi joins us now. He's a security analyst and a lecturer, Department of History at Bafemi Awolowo University. Thank you for coming on this morning, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Well, approaching this from seemingly a rather different perspective, just rather than what lots of people have at the back of their minds, always field operations. But this seems to be providing a framework upon which that operational activity can go on. Tell us about this developing a national policy on public safety and security in Nigeria, and how will this come to bear in terms of providing this operational framework that can guarantee safety and security?
Thank you very much. In Nigeria, you have catchphrases, one of which is security is everybody's business. Now, everybody says that, especially when they are scratched. There are mosquitoes or cockroaches, what related to security. But Nigeria does not have a document that articulates why security is everybody's business. You say it, I say it, the other person says it. So the Minister of Police Affairs, in the wisdom of the minister, thought to be useful if we could develop a policy on national safety and security. And the emphasis, actually the greater emphasis is on safety rather than the security thing. Because it's like if you can get one, the other will be much easier to achieve. But this is a policy document that will show why agencies connected with safety and security should synergize, harmonize their mandates, because every organization has its remit, and they have things to do with safety and with security. And then this whole thing about, when you talk of safety and security, is it only about the uniform personnel that we are used to, the police, the army, the navy, the armed forces, or just NSCDC? What of NEMA? What of the NOA, National Orientation Agency? What of NACTIP? What of the FCC, the FRSC? Everybody is connected one way or the other with safety and security, the fire service. So each one has its mandate, each one has its territory, each one jealously guards his mandate, jealously guards his territory. A policy document like we're working on now will, one, put together what is it that everybody is doing, and where are the interconnectedness, and how do you, by having a national policy, ensure effective and efficient resource utilization, mobilization and utilization, reduce the tough war, and then at the end of the day, guarantee more safety, more security for the citizen.
So, is this a foundational document, or do we have one already?
Well, to the best of our knowledge, Nigeria does not have a national policy on safety and security. And like we have had to canvass as we move around now the zones, I think Nigerians should focus more on the message rather than the messenger, i.e., it's the Minister of Police Affairs and whose auspices this is being done. And you know what that means. Reluctance on the part of stakeholders in the business about, it's the Minister of Police Affairs thing. And of course, is it about the police? Well, as a group, the committee has no apologies about the fact that in a democracy, the police represent the first line on the matter of internal security. So when the policy has been developed, it will involve everybody cooperating, but you can see that at the apex of it will be the police. And in any case, before Abraham, Jesus was. Because many of what you have today, NSCDC, customs, everything, started from the police.
You know, when you talk about the police, this document also tells us about individuals who can actually come up to offer security, and you also try to talk about how best the police can function in our society, that, occasionally we see that maybe the army can actually assist even the police. But the issue of public safety, you say it requires a myriad of formal agencies and informal entities as well as more dexterity and time. Perhaps maybe you should expatiate more on that.
Yes, I mean, doesn't that go without saying that, as I've said, other agencies, by what they do, also deliver safety, deliver security. Let us take the customs service. Beyond revenue collection, beyond mobilization of resources, we can just know the customs service as a revenue generating agency. Yes, but you know as well as I do that through semi-border, through all the borders where the customs active, all manner of things getting, fake goods, fake drugs. By the activity, they can apprehend those who are bringing in fake goods or fake drugs. You go on to the next stage, NAFDAC. From NAFDAC, you apprehend the importers, and then by that, you're talking about the arrest of those who are involved. It's a chain. Everybody working together, there's a point at which what you can say your activities ends, the other man takes over, and by everybody doing what everybody should do, you end up delivering safety and security.
What strikes me in all of this is that we actually need a policy to spell out cooperation.
Yes.
That's basically what this policy is about.
Which a major focus of this policy is to spell out cooperation, because for up to now you have had everybody quote unquote operating in what you can call watertight compartment. Though the thing cannot really be watertight, but oftentimes you have this. Of course, the readiest example one can raise here now is the NSCDC police, Arepo fire vandalism the other day. Ordinarily, if there was a policy like this in place, the NSCDC man knows where his business stops and where that of the police begins, and they can interconnect. And instead of that blowout, instead of that war, you should be talking more of cooperation.
I find it interesting because, you know, every time, even though we see it to the contrary when, you know, things like that come to the fore, like the fracas we saw between the police and the NSCDC. But each time we're privileged to get members of our security agencies into our studios, and you're asking questions about guarding the turf and cooperation. Oh, they tell you we're very cooperative. I mean, they also give you instances where they have cooperated, you know, intensely. Elections, elections is one of them, and they tell you that security, even curbing Boko Haram, is one of the other areas that they like to cite. Tell us more. How does it really play out at the end of the day that we had to sit at the end of the day and say we need to come up with a policy?
Well, everybody comes here to tell you, oh, cooperating with the other agency. Is that the reality? Because usually, but they are raising that question, maybe you have just had an incident. A policy like this states it precisely or gives a fair guideline as to what you should be doing and where really you need help from the other man, and how best to go about getting this help. So that beyond verbalizing it, you want to have something that specifies what you should do, at what point. I'm the FRSC man, he's the police, there's been an accident, beyond checking the vehicle papers and all that. Now, yes.
Some people say that, you know, that the policies oftentimes stops at the top. You know, the people, the bosses of the institutions understand the need for cooperation. And oftentimes you get possibly the most enlightened of the security members to come into the studio, and the ones talking about, it's possible that they are the ones truly cooperating. Maybe they are always cooperating, especially in the areas of PR and stuff like that. You could see that cooperation, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty, the man on the street, the man whom people relate with, which is where you're hoping to see the cooperation, it's often lacking. How are we going to translate this policy into something that should come from the top to the bottom in such a way that, you know, even the smallest man understands?
Fine. That is the point about these consultative forums, for instance. In the advert in the Punch last Friday, announcing the Southwest Forum, you will have seen the organizations listed to appear and make contributions or present their briefs or suggestions for the committee. Before we got to this stage of consultative forums, we've had to go around the heads of the organizations in Abuja. We've been on since June. So we've done the rounds of reaching out to the heads of these organizations.